Hey everybody, real quick, gonna plug in the mic. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is going to be an introduction to the fact that I am going to be releasing some of our recent premium videos for everybody, basically putting them from unlisted, where they're private links, to the free page on YouTube. And so there's some good stuff in there. I'm going to probably go with 2 to 3 to start. It's going to be everything from a very recent update a few days ago to some of the ones that I think have really good content about even individual names that we own that cross over. I'm not going to include videos with just premium picks, but when I make comments on some of the stocks that some of you have known about or heard about before, I will include that. But really, it's going to be, and I want to preface this right now, this in itself is an important update, but be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have a YouTube account. We are recording this, on the 9th, I'm recording the first episode of what will be called the Phenom channel on Real Vision. Real Vision YouTube will be the main area there. So you're going to want to basically, I'll end up moving that over into our channel once it's live. And then there's going to be a lot of intermittent action. And I want to really make sure the YouTube audience is engaged even more than the email audience, because frankly, with the pace in which things are going and have been going, it's obviously, you could see it, for me to write long reports, it can be like delayed. I put out individual pieces, but I think that will help keep you more informed. I think that moving some of these premium videos will get you up to speed a little bit quicker here if you want to dive into these today, tomorrow. And then, as far as the videos go, just whether it's the Real Vision or other, public videos, that will continue to be regular. We'll do spontaneous Q&As like we've done. We'll do scheduled Q&As, but the reality is that I'm focusing on a much bigger picture than when somebody emails me, and there was actually a premise for the last premium Q&A. And it was, these things could go on for hours, and everybody just does this, what's going on with XYZ company? Okay, I understand that, especially if you've owned it for a while. And a lot of these that we even owned for years have come back roaring. Some not so much yet, but if you were a premium member, you know what is still in our core portfolio. You know what we bought more of. You know what we took profits on. You know what we may buy more for a trade. You will get video updates that are regular all the time. But in any event, what I did with that Q&A is what I will do with you guys. Because what I see, unfortunately, and it's unavoidable with large numbers, but maybe there are going to be, I want to make a dent with some folks that, even the pros, it's not an easy game. And it's not an easy game on when to buy and when to sell, when to take profits, how to take profits. And, I still have elite members that, we put things on the table, they go up, 10x. And then I find out then the stock gets cut in half after 10x in, a few months, 6 months. And then, they're texting me and they're down 40%. I'm like, what? We just sold, we took all of our money out, have a huge profit in this piece for free. That's a little bit of an anomaly. And I'm just saying, because with the elites, these are wealthy, smart, sophisticated investors on all levels. And that is like the subset group. The upper group are professionals, family office managers, big names, a couple of big names that you would know. And so, those folks can do their own thing. And I'm not even talking about this for the common retail investor. I'm talking about this for everyone, including myself, that has had to really do a lot of work on being in the right mindset, taking the right actions at the right time, which usually I would call contrary actions to what you feel or what you think. Because what I see happening is gold is going so much higher. Silver is going so much higher. The miners, I believe that this recent correction, I think we saw the end of it. So I've been buying. We have been alerting the premium and elite members to buy select positions and put more on as we bounce from here going into year end with tax selling and everything else that's going on. We're going to see another, I believe, powerful move. And even if gold does sort of waffle a little longer than it's already waffled longer than I expected, it has not gone as low as I expected. And it's actually a great thing that this consolidation has lasted 4 months since the highs in August. The hot money, they're gone. This might be you because you bought in and you got here, when it was in the news cycle a little bit, and that's fine. But just realize the game is just beginning. And if we don't get our ducks in a row with a strategy, how to sell, how to take profits, what to do with position sizing. We have a formula that I use myself. It's very simple. If you follow it to the T, you essentially, I think, if you have trouble and you have had trouble with, how to get in and out of positions, if you're liable to, make your bets when you feel more comfortable. A lot of institutional investors that may be listening, you like to see some validation, happy to pay up if that occurs. But I'm just talking about in general, this is a very tough part of the game and it's the hardest. And so I want to dive into the hardest, but I also want to, I've done so much work on not only this area, the stocks we recommend that we have in the portfolio. We have a situation that I'm going to touch on now with crypto that, I'm going to send you some of the videos where I talk about Bitcoin. I just looked, and one of the reasons too is the only premium elite video I think I've ever seen with 1 thumbs down. And whoever that was, it was because most of it, and I'm only going to include that part. I'm going to put this one up very quickly, maybe even in this, probably not in this link, but maybe it'll be done editing. And it was one where I talked about Bitcoin. And here, don't worry, for all of you gold bugs, codgers, the old codgers that dismiss this digital, whatever you want to call it, we have a real divide, and I understand that, and I resisted Bitcoin initially too. But what I've concluded are a few things. Number one, anybody who you rely on, or you yourself that are gold investors and have a core sort of position around gold, silver, monetary, store of value there, making sure that your fiat isn't disintegrating into thin air, all of the elements of the gold market. And then when you have other exposure that's correlated to that, like vis-a-vis the miners, if they are not talking or you are not looking at Bitcoin in the conversation with or versus or against gold, you're not doing a good job. And the reason for that, and this is why I'm going to continue, I'm not going to start recommending a bunch of cryptocurrencies. But as far as Bitcoin goes, I've been talking about buying Bitcoin. The first alert here was in 2016 at 450. The problem is that when it ripped up, and we were up 5x, I sold it and didn't buy more back until we were closer to 10,000 and then traded out into the bubble at 17,000. But this was play money. And I've talked about this after we broke 8,000 on the downside about an accumulation strategy. And then every time we got pummeled, you would see, there's videos here, there's emails, go back through them. When we would have big dips in Bitcoin, I would talk about putting in more money. So I have a huge amount of my net worth in crypto, okay? And 2/3, half is Bitcoin probably. When you add Ethereum, it's at least 2/3, maybe more, 3/4 of my crypto positions. I'm a venture capitalist by heart and by nature. I was involved with tech and fintech and all kinds of different spaces, med tech, before I got into the gold space. And I ran a venture capital fund, and we also We had a model at our investment bank broker dealer that I was the head of as the position of basically dealing directly. We had a division of one lawyer, one banker. They had relationships with all the VCs, and we did deals only alongside Benchmark, NEA, Kleiner Perkins, best of the best, Sequoia. And we would come in on late stage rounds. And I learned so much. And I was the liaison with the brokers to basically say, look, it's one thing if you're a boutique or a wirehouse firm and you come with proprietary products and IPOs and all this and that, and they did have that at that time. But I said, if you want to talk to Mark Cuban, if you have somebody on the line that is just, they see everything, they're around, if we want to bring real value and they couldn't get into, or they, were late on or couldn't get enough of the recent Sequoia fund, for example, or whatever, or years ago. And because that's the case with the best, because they make money all the time. And you can cherry pick those deals later stage where they're revenue producing and they're close to a liquidity event. It added a lot of value. So anyway, I've seen, and I've gone down to the early stage as an angel investor in deals for many years. Fintech is an area that I feel like I understand really well. And so I've got a hybrid background, and not only that, it's the age, I think, that comes into play. I would just be mindful of this because you have, folks that are old school. If you're a boomer, or even later in your 60s or more, just baby boomers in general, I think your demographic is more prone to just stick to what we know. And I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I believe, and this is what's interesting. So Bitcoin and gold are super complementary. It's not an either or. They should be owned for similar reasons, but at different stages for risk return profiles. And the crypto community, so I look at the folks that are just the gold people that are a bit older that just dismiss Bitcoin. And then I look at some of the crypto people and they don't understand gold. And then, they do this, there's like this drop gold campaign. And, there's even we're seeing public companies, large ones, putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet in their treasury to protect their treasury. And we're talking about Michael Saylor at, I believe it's MicroStrategies, has come out publicly and he's talked a lot about those hundreds of millions of dollars. And he gets out there and talks about Bitcoin. But even in his case, which he's awesome, really bold to do that in a public company and convince your board. And he did that a bit ago. So they're all happy so far. But when he commented on gold, I'm like, this is an issue around the board. I'm like, he doesn't understand the function of gold. So the crypto people don't get the gold component. The gold people don't get the crypto component. But for those of you that know the gold component, well, the reason Bitcoin's in the conversation is it because it's in the conversation with everybody else. What makes people come in, by the way, Paul Tudor Jones, Stan Druckenmiller, Bill Miller. I mean, these are some of the biggest old school money, but these guys still, 60s and 70s, they have the ability to adapt, to open their mind, and to start seeing what's coming in the future. Druckenmiller, and I'll tell you who's next. It's Dalio. Bridgewater will own Bitcoin, or at least Ray will own a lot of it in his own account. He's coming, trust me. Everybody's coming. That's the thing with Bitcoin, and there's no supply. And so there's a lot of validation out there. But most of these people that understand gold, and this is the case for anybody that wants to be a little bit more conservative and prudent, you don't put all your money into crypto, but everybody talks about it and learns about it when you say it's a store of value and it's digital gold. And then you look at it from that perspective, and these guys can wrap their heads around it. When you start to talk about Satoshi and the numbers and the blockchain, decentralized, this and that, people's eyes glaze over, and it just doesn't register. But what is happening is that Bitcoin is in the conversation, not only from the standpoint of how they modeled it. Satoshi modeled Bitcoin. They call them miners, for a reason, with regard to generating new Bitcoin, but they did improve the model. I mean, in the sense that gold, it's tough to pull out 1.5% of the global supply on an annual basis, especially now. It'll take years to get that up to closer to 2%, and it may even be under 1.5%. But that's also why they use gold, because you're talking about a 3% max they can add with everybody firing. And right now we're not even staying par with population growth, and the allocations to gold itself are very, very low. But it's proven to be a store of value over a long period of time, and it's been around for 5,000 years, and it's not going anywhere. So for the safest money that I have, the money that I just sock away and know that it will be there, it maintain, I think it's actually going to make a lot of room up for everything. To be priced, when you look at your returns in stocks and bonds and everything else, do it with your dollars or your euros or whatever country you're in, but then do it against gold, because the price of gold versus those pieces is the actual metric to pay attention to, because gold's the only true money in the game. Yeah, the dollar's been strong, but against what? A basket of other crap fiats that are racing to debase because everybody's over leveraged. But in any event, Bitcoin is the same premise, but it's a deflationary asset. There's nothing available. We had the halving in May. I've done a lot of work. There's stock to flow models by a guy named Plan B on Twitter, who's done some really amazing work that shows how this works with the cycles. Every single time Bitcoin has soared to new highs, crashed by 85, 90%, 92% each time, and then gone on to new highs. And it's staged, and that usually happens around the halving. It's about a 4-year cycle, and this is no different. And we're knocking on the door. And I mean, I have been so vocal about this since the summer, especially with premium and elites, like literally to the point I'm smiling and dialing back in my broker days to call members and say, look, did you act on any of this yet? It's not about doing a lot. It's about getting familiar with it, because with what I'm seeing and because of the time I've spent in this rabbit hole, I mean, I'm talking about the last 2.5 years, but even recently, it's gotten to be more evident about the disruption of the entire financial system is coming from blockchain, DeFi, decentralized finance, and some of the applications that I've been sharing with our premium and elite members that I use for way above market interest rates on the dollar. It's a new world, and it's here, and it's coming. And the big projects that we're all hyped up in late 2017 and then raised a ton of money, they've been heads down for 2.5 years, and a lot of this stuff is already coming to market. I mean, I've just been exhorting people to get something on the books, and then taking it to the point where, okay, I know you've got a little bit, but this isn't significant for you. And I've been trying to speed up the openness. So all I want to say right now to you in this regard is that the Bitcoin piece here is actually very relevant to talk about, because we have what I would call, at least in terms of some perception out there with the big money, we have the first competitor to gold. Possibly you look at it that way. I say it's a juicy complementary piece, and it's a complement to gold, that it was modeled this way. But it's a gold versus Bitcoin. What is it going to do? What's going to happen? It is in the narrative out there. It is in the narrative with the big money, and it is in the narrative with people that don't get gold. It's in the narrative with people that do. I mean, you look at everybody from Raoul Pal at Real Vision. I mean, this guy I highly respect. He's been coming out, and you're talking about an ex-Goldman guy who then was a macro fund manager, and made a ton of money and basically got out of the business. Then they launched Real Vision, and he has come out recently. He's been like me, but he's even more allocated. He said, the recent interview, which I will send out from another channel with Raul, he's got 75% of his liquid assets in Bitcoin, and then to a lesser extent Ethereum, which I've been, on this pullback loading up on, and I've even been buying more recently because I see that there's a lot of things that are there. But the Bitcoin piece, you look at Raul, you look at Paul Tudor Jones, who's basically said, look, I've got 1%, I'm going up to 2% of my assets, but gold is much bigger. Stanley Druckenmiller, I own multiples more of gold, but Bitcoin's going to outperform it. And I started to dip my toe in, and these guys are not done buying. And if you look at the available supply and the market cap, I mean, you add Peter Thiel, Bill Miller, a few public companies that want to add some on the balance sheet, much less the governments, which is coming. I am convinced that we're looking at six figures next year. Once we blow through this 20,000, it's tested those highs twice now. Let's see where we are now. I mean, I'm expecting this to be imminent, even possibly any day. It's probably not going to go past, if we have another correction, these have been very brief, very shallow. We hit, 21st, got rejected. But the problem with buying the pullbacks at this point is that it flushed below 17,000 from 20, but, those lasted like an hour and probably in the middle of the night in Asia. So your best chance was you had a limit order in or you were buying at 17.5 or something. And that's cool. But, I've been talking about this in terms of exhorting you guys, the free list and everybody else, since we were, 5,000, 6,000, 4,000 back in the closer to the lows. And I know a lot of you did act on that, even if it was my petition to get one for your kids. And all I would say to those of you that have been on board and, you may be tempted or you already, a lot of people sell it. I'm not touching my stack until we are so much higher. Bitcoin is going to explode once it gets through that 20. You need to have an account set up before that happens with money into, call it a Coinbase account, Binance, whatever. You've got to have that. You got to have that in play and in place to buy that breakout, because everybody on the globe is going to see that breakout, and it doesn't matter what asset it is. When you see a breakout like that after 3 tests and a consolidation for years, then you are going to buy that asset. I'm trying to find where I am with the video here. Bear with me. I'm just making sure I'm not losing you guys here with something I might have closed. But in any event, on that 20,000 break, or in the second unlikelihood of any sort of a pullback, I don't think I told people that the mid-teens again is not probably even coming. If you're waiting for 10,000 to look at it again, good luck. But on that breakout of 20, you want to pile in aggressively and do that before it gets, when we see that and you see 20,500, 21,000, based on, it doesn't matter if we're buying soybeans, but this is a different animal altogether. And, we're going right to 30,000. If anything, at least make yourself some quick 30, 40, 50% on that trade. But I wouldn't touch it. I'm not worried about it at all in terms of taking anything off. And I've got over 30% of my net worth in crypto. It's probably a bit higher now, with the gold pullback and stuff. I'm doing an inventory on that, but it might, it's going to be over 40% soon, assuming gold and the gold stocks even do go up. It's a lot of money, and I'm comfortable with the risk. And the people that I talk to, the amount of people that I talk to out there, it's people don't understand it yet, and that's okay. But you should, if you believe or trust in me and you've been around for a while, I've been talking this narrative for a while, the one message I want to give you is that if you think you missed it, you haven't. Spend some time learning. It's not going to be a waste, because this isn't going away. This is like Internet 3.0 on steroids, what is coming out of the ocean. Bitcoin's just the one, conversation with a currency, with money that started this thing with the blockchain. And when you start going broader, and seeing what is coming up to disrupt even this industry, anything in capital markets, finance, banking. The world is changing, and it is going to change in a way that you want to be aware early on, because there's so many other opportunities. But what I would say is just, if you've given up or you haven't even looked, you've blown it off. If you want to start now, if you think you missed it, you have it. And just spend some time, invest some time, watch some videos. On YouTube, there's a lot of really great sources. Real Vision has a bunch of good stuff, and they started a crypto channel. You have, I've spent thousands of hours of research, maybe over 10,000 in the last 2.5 years, just in it, like full weekends where, I'm basically going through my process to find stuff and learn things like I do with other stocks and gold and miners and everything else. And I just can't stop, because I'm seeing things that are just like, oh my God, it takes time to really learn. So have an account open, just make sure you have the opportunity to do it. But I'll tell you what, now PayPal offers it. You've got Stripe, PayPal. It's starting to become an on-ramp situation that is very easy. And by the time that it's completely everywhere, which, by the way, I will tell you for a fact, any online broker you deal with will give you the opportunity to buy Bitcoin, most of them next year. Any other stragglers will be soon thereafter. And you can buy it anywhere. And it's just, you look at the network effect and all these other things. The writing's on the wall, guys. I don't see, when I talk about 150 to 250,000 on this cycle, and we're talking about, 18 months or less, folks are like, you're crazy. But I think that's conservative. And I also think we probably have to go through another sort of bust cycle. So there'll be another opportunity down the road, but it's going to be from much higher highs to much higher lows. And, I'm looking at least 500,000 to 1 million on Bitcoin target in, call it 5 to 7 years ish. It could take a little longer, but these cycles tend to be in 4-year cycles. We're sort of in the, last third to half of this cycle since the low. And that's when stuff really kicks into gear. And as we saw in 17, when it's ready, which it is now, you're going to get your face ripped off. We are all going to get our face ripped off by Bitcoin. Bitcoin has eaten the lunch of any and every asset class for performance for the last 10 years. You look at a 1-year scenario in the bear market when it got smacked, sure. Any 3-year period, any 2-3-year period, and then also 5 and 10, Bitcoin is destroyed. There's nothing even close. Look at this year, look at the S&P versus or gold or silver. I'm so bullish on gold and silver, but the only thing that's going to really sniff return profiles in crypto, call it just Bitcoin, because that's the first one you focus on, are some of our junior miners that basically go up extraordinary amounts. And we have them, and we've had them before, and we're going to have a lot of them in the future. And that's the last thing I'll say, is that if you are serious, and we have a lot of new subscribers, so the problem with that is that I've not been super active, but there's a lot for you. There's a lot for you that's going to get opened up. But the way to get plugged in, I'm in contact almost daily during the week with our premium and elite members, even if it's just a quick note on certain stocks. If it's a video like this, specials, everything else, we have a model portfolio you can follow, you can allocate to. And I don't charge much for it, but I just want to let you know it's going to be by the end of the year. Worst case, it will be at the end of the year. The elite membership is already on a waiting list, and I'm keeping that tight. But the elite membership, the price, when it's open back up, is actually, we see it listed at about 10,000 US, 9,777. It's actually going to be closer to 20 grand, FYI. So if you go into the waiting list and you are in the mix between now and when it officially changes, you would get a discount to that in some way, shape, or form. We're potentially going to add maybe 10 or 15 people to the elite that are good fits. And the elites, look, if you're in that position, you're in a good position. But as far as the subscription options, Right now, we've got $437 for biannual and 777. I like the letter seven for completeness, spiritual perfection. There's a lot of symbolism there. I love the seven number. You see it in all my stuff. So in any event, both are peanuts, and I would lock in. You save a few bucks on the annual. What is going to happen is the 777 is only going to be for 6 months, and that's coming. So the prices are going to double, and that will be the shortest time you can. We used to have monthly and whatever else, but biannual will be there, and that's 777. We haven't decided on an annual yet, but you want to lock that in now. Get a taste of the real action. The real gold investment letter, the one that you're going to get a ton of recommendations, updates, information. The e-letter, I need to be more active, and I am planning on a lot of good stuff. And a lot of the videos help because I can get this information out. I can plug it in. I can give you the message. I can make some of the premium stuff free, like I'm going to do today, tomorrow. Today, I'm going to start, but I don't want to put them all up at once. So please do subscribe to YouTube to get those updates, because anything that comes on YouTube is going to be good. Going forward, it's going to be content that, even if it's for everybody, it gets uploaded there. You're going to get it before I even send it out as a notice. And then, look, if you're newer, just, people try to get information, and I understand this, as much as you can for free. But if you are plugged into our premium membership, and even over the course of the last few years, and even during most of the bear market, except for, and if you followed along and stuck through, not a lot of people did, we're making a fortune, and it's just going to accelerate. And, I'm pretty good at what I do. I will say that humbly. And the reality is, you don't see what I do on the free list. You get little pieces, and I try to add value for you in specific stock picks and other things, and I'll continue to do that, and also be even more active from the video angle because I don't have to write out full reports. But you're just not seeing the real activity and the real action. I mean, I'll be putting something out before the subscription number changes probably, but as far as the trading record, even swing trades in the model portfolio, much less those of us that did private placements in a lot of these deals over the years. I mean, the amount of warrants and things that are making us ridiculous amounts of money at this point, it's very exciting. And I've got this Real Vision channel that begins, I think we're going to publish within 2 weeks. It'll be every 2 weeks, and it's not going to be the Gold Investment Letter channel or Eric Mashinsky. We're calling it Phenom, which is sort of my brand. And they're going to let me play around. We're going to focus on the gold miners as a recap, mostly in gold and silver from the video I did in May. If you didn't see that, I would highly recommend Why Gold Miners, Why Now. We have it on our homepage, just uploaded to free members. That would be 101. Check that out. Rewatch it. See how right or wrong I was, or my take from late May. And that is going to provide a lot of really interesting content of value. And my forte, my specialties are going to be obviously gold miners, silver miners are sort of the staple. That's my focus. That's where I've been focused for the last decade. Primarily, but then also, those of you that are around and have been around, and certainly if you've been on premium, investor psychology is a huge part of what I have really tried to focus on personally, and then also adding that value, and also macro. I look at everything. I've got capital markets experience that is much more broad than just junior miners. I've been a financier and investment banker. With a lot of these companies. I've been an investment banker for tech venture capital. And I also have, I believe, a very unique perspective on Bitcoin and how that relates to just that itself in crypto, but also to tie the two together and have a conversation about something I'm not seeing from either group. And so it's going to be really exciting. But if you want all this earlier, you want to make sure you're getting everything, cough up the few bucks. It's nothing. I mean, you put there's so many of our picks that, if you're somebody who's like been on here for years and you have like one or two of these shit dogs that we did pick that are down, but now they've been coming back, whatever, and you're waiting around, but you have money, either sell those stocks and just get off the list, because what are you doing, or step it up and get involved more and give it a year and see what happens. Give it 6 months to a year in 2021. If you don't like it then just, flip me the bird and go on. But you don't know what you don't know. And the value that's provided in those services is extremely valuable. I'm undercharging by magnitudes, and the price is going up to double, and it should probably go up a lot more. And it will. Because I'm going to limit the amount of premium subscribers that we're going to have. And that may come sooner than later, so lock it in. If you want the elite, where you're getting private placement, deal flow, things like that as well. First look on any trades or anything that I'm doing. Definitely join that wait list, and, also get your premium set in the meantime. And you're going to get a lot of the content. And then we'll have you in the queue for elite. But it's game on, ladies and gentlemen. We're in a bull market in gold, silver, mining stocks, and Bitcoin, which is extremely relevant and in the conversation with our gold investment. And the money that is ahead of us, for those that are tuned in and paying attention and can do things even half right in terms of when to buy and when to sell, this is life-changing stuff. I don't say things like this. I'm not the usual, the world's going to go into destruction for gold to work. I know what makes gold go up. And it's not just that you're going to have the dollar going down. It's not just in periods where you have a depression or this. I don't call for, catastrophic things to happen. I don't call for, wealth transfers of huge complications and or benefits to people that miss it and or that are in it. Now I am, because it's here, and you better get off your ass in one way, shape, or form. And even if you don't do much with me, you want to dig in. If people come into these spaces when they get hot. The good news is if you came into gold, going in the summer into the August highs and you're still around, get more stock on the books, get more gold, get more silver. Don't be a Johnny come lately. You got sucked in. If you did that and you're thinking, oh, I bought one stock or I'm down on my gold, and you're about to capitulate, change everything, or you are going to always lose money, and that goes for the institutions too. I see with the institutions, I've got to cut this. It's been very long, but hopefully some of it is helpful. And I will be, keep looking at the YouTube channel. When I release like 2 of them, I'll put an email out. I also am putting a written update out on some of our stocks today or tomorrow for the free e-letter. That will be very, I think, helpful. What my main one is recently, Newfound Gold. Clock's ticking on that one, I think, around 4 Canadian. And then I want to get into some of our previous picks like Abra Plata, which is up, 8x in not a long period of time. Bravada, which I have to do the math because I think I was over 10%. It dipped under. I think I'm back over because I've been buying a lot of that stock. And then like Timberline went into the doghouse for us, like on a neutral basis, but we own a lot of that company, and I know a lot of you do, and that thing is completely changed, and it looks like that's going to explode, and it's for good reason. And so I adjusted out my take of being, sort of frustrated, disappointed with management for years, and then they get Crescat Capital, they get Quinton Henning, they start drilling where there's high grade on this Eureka property, which I've always known, and they're hitting. And this thing is going to fly now. So I made a pivot. I put it from the penalty box, which means I'm not buying it, but I'm not selling it. It's too cheap in the model portfolio. And we have a 2% core allocation to Timberline. It's been put back into that place. So, lots of opportunities out there, folks. I mean, big opportunities. And, the last thing I'll say before this hits the 40-minute mark, losses are guaranteed. I don't care if I lose all of my money in 3 out of 10 stocks, as long as I keep hitting these 5, 10, 20 baggers and a lot of doubles and triples, which I do, it doesn't matter. It's the overall return. Don't be deterred by the losses when you're in a high risk area like this. It's part of the game. Have a good day.